Jai Shriman Narayan. Jai Shriman Narayan. Jai Shriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagadguru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the Pravavas. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi, and I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that are watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally, and I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted in YouTube and the various groups from around the world subsequently. As I promised on Thursday, that today I'm going to discuss the real you and not the perceived you. And the real you, all of you have one name. All of you, everyone, every living entity has only one name, Atma. And the creator of these material universes also has one name, Paramatma. So today, our discourse is on the creator, Paramatma, and Atma, which is a mode of Paramatma, and how we have been deluded since time immemorial in thinking that we are this body. And this is very, very relevant, especially in Pitru Paksha, because you yourself is the evidence. Each one of you seated here, and those that's watching and hearing this discourse, you yourself become the evidence that in every life you allow the delusion to make you think that you are the body. And I'm talking to those that believe they are followers of Sanatan Dharma / Hinduism. So I'm saying all of you have one name, which is Atma or soul. Everyone has only one name, which is Atma or soul. And I'm saying you are the evidence. Let me explain. Most of us do not have our parents that are living, and others do not have parents, or others don't have grandparents, they still have their parents around. So you identified your parent as the body, all of you. You saw the body. Then you saw the disintegration of this body. So if we are in Sanatan Dharma, then most of us would have ensured that the body is cremated. So especially the men folk would have went to the crematorium, and they would have witnessed, after a particular ritual, the body put into the oven. then you would have stayed and ensured that the ashes from the very same oven is cooked up and given to you so you can, again, through a specific ritual, get these ashes thrown into running water. And this is why I'm saying you are the evidence. Aren't you the evidence? For a male member in your family evidentially corroborates that the entire body of whom you identify as your mom, your dad, your uncle, your auntie, or whoever, during cremation you saw this body incinerated to smithereens or into ashes. Now in Pitru Paksha, if such parent or parents or grandparents were the bodies, then what is the relevance of doing Pitru Paksha? Because you yourself witnessed the incineration of that body. Are you understanding? You saw that body turn to ashes. What is the significance then to do any ritual for that body that is mere ashes, and that ashes, when thrown into water, will merge into soil? Would it not? And if you identify either yourself as the body, or your parents as the body, or any relatives as the body, then what is the significance? What is the purpose of doing Pitru Paksha? Because that ashes, either through cremation or burial, the end product of the body will merge into the soil, will it not? The fire will incinerate it in a few hours, and the burial in a few months or years. Finally, notwithstanding when, but the body merges with the earth. And what is the use of this great ritual we are asking you to perform? Pitru Paksha. Why do we perform Pitru Paksha? So I'm saying, unknowingly, you scientifically confirm that the living entity called mom, dad, uncle, auntie, granddad, nani, nana, aji, aja, kati, kaka, that living entity whose body we named as following were not the body but something other than that body. Something other than that body. And we ourselves confirm it. So sometimes in our lifetime, we have the opportunity to see a young girl growing up, getting married, getting pregnant, and giving birth to a child. Do we not? So we understand that at a certain point in time, that girl was singular. And through a process of pregnancy, she gave birth to a child. So we know that there is a beginning to a body because we witnessed it. We saw there was a young girl, unmarried or non-pregnant, then she matured and she got pregnant and she delivered a child. And we ourselves scientifically witnessed that the body has a beginning. And then when our parents or grandparents passed on, we scientifically corroborated with ourselves as evidence that a body has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. Who's the evidence? Each one of us. We are witnessing this ourselves on a daily basis, that a body has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. But despite that, that is why Jessica would want expensive clothing, expensive cosmetics, a jeep to ride around in, a beautiful accommodation. After witnessing birth and death. Alright, birth and death. After knowing, after witnessing and knowing that this body is mere, it's a temporary entity. This body is a temporary entity. But we'll do anything in our power to appease the desires of this body. We will steal, we will rob, some of us rape. All these are desires born in the senses of this body. Desires born in the senses of this body. And to fulfill these desires, knowing that this body is temporary, we will do anything to appease it. Won't we? And this is the downfall of man. This is the downfall of mankind. And this is why you are witnessing the suffering of man around the world, even during this coronavirus. This coronavirus, there's a story behind the story, but ultimately everything is karma. Everything is karma. Karma is merits and demerits. They are actions. Karma is merits and demerits. It is the fabric, it is one of the constituents, substances of creation. Demerits and merits is the cause of material creation. Understand this carefully. Merits and demerits is the cause of creation. Alright? It programs creation. Every entity has a programming, doesn't it? And material universe also has a programming. And its principal program is the sum total of all the karmas of all the living entities. This karmas computed programs the destiny of one cycle of creation, which lasts for 311 trillion 40 billion years. So this is a mainframe program. Mainframe program. Then you have smaller frames within the mainframe. Smaller frames within this mainframe. And these smaller frames within this mainframe keeps this creation animated for 311 trillion years. Ongoing karma keeps life in these universes for 311 trillion 40 billion years. So the cause of creation is the sum total of all the karma, and the continuity of creation is the individual karma, the family karma, the societal karma, the regional karma, the national karma, the international karma. That keeps creation ongoing until it ends at the end of 311 trillion 40 billion years. You need to understand this. Alright? So you need to understand that the fabric of your very being, conjoined with your Atma, conjoined with your Atma is your mind. Conjoined with your Atma is your mind. And your mind is not eternal. It is part of material nature, but it does not get burnt with your gross body. Your mind does not get burnt with your gross body. It is conjoined with your Atma, your soul. Your 10 senses are conjoined with your Atma. Your 5 vital airs are conjoined with your Atma. And your mind is conjoined with your Atma. These 5 elements, space, air, fire, water and earth, the seeds of the 5 elements are conjoined with your Atma. All of you understand? So when your body perishes, the subtle body, a combination of all what I've discussed is called the subtle body, they still exist. And the computing of your action, reaction is automatic and ongoing. There is a huge energy. There is a huge energy that computes all your actions individually. And these actions are stored in your mind. These actions are stored in your mind. Every good you do, 1 point. Every bad you do, 1 point. Every good you do, 1 point. Every bad you do, 1 point. Then, for every action, there is an equal but opposite reaction. So you plant the seeds of your action in this lifetime, you will get, according to your balance sheet, an appropriate body to experience the actions of this action in this lifetime, in your next lifetime. Both good and bad. Both good and bad. Are you understanding? This is a law that exists, same like the law of gravity. Here I left this book. It fell. This law cannot be changed. Every time I hold a book and drop it, it's going to fall. That is an absolute law of gravity. Similarly, the law of karma is absolute. It is absolute, it exists. Whether you accept or do not accept, your actions is being computed every millisecond. There's a devta called Chitra Gupta. Chitra Gupta is here on your shoulders, writing, computing your actions and reactions. Jessica. As soon as you think, I'll go home today and fight with Satish Bhai, it's already there, even before you fought, before you thought it's computed. Next lifetime, you're going to be sorted out, Satish Bhai. See how great God is, that you can't be plotted. The plotter is already sorted out in the next life. Alright? In the next life. And this is how it works. As you think it, Chitra Gupta inks it. As you think it, Jessica, Chitragupta inks it on your program. So this is perfect. Now, to make this program absolute, within your Atma lives Paramatma. Within your Atma lives Paramatma. And whatever Chitragupta computed, he drives this body to make sure it achieves it. Who drives this body? Paramatma. Drives this body to make sure you achieve what Chitragupta noted. Is there a way out? Is there a way out? Is this system beautiful and scientific? Does it give you a great sense of relief when you hear the truth about yourself? Jessica? So from tomorrow, don't call satisfied. You'll all have one name. You say Atma, husband, and you say Atma, wife. Right, satisfied? We are all the same. Every Atma is the same. The only difference is the karma. Only difference is the karma. All Atmas are the same. Now this Atma takes its seat in the heart. Atma takes its seat in the heart. The physical heart is located in the same position as the spiritual heart. So it doesn't matter which heart we are talking about. It doesn't matter which heart we are talking about. The spiritual heart is the chakra that is situated on the left side of your chest. Inside that heart, it doesn't matter which heart you are imagining. Inside that heart, there is a tongue of fire. There is a tongue of fire that is you. The real you is this tongue of fire that is situated in the heart. And in the center of the tongue of this fire is another fire, which is Lord Sriman Narayan. So Lord Sriman Narayan is living within the flame which is you. Lord Sriman Narayan is living within the flame that is individually you. If at night there is no light inside, there is no light outside this hall, this ashram, and I light a candle in one corner of this ashram, what will the flame do to the entire ashram? It will give it light. So you will see the animation of the entire ashram, although the candle is placed in one corner. Similarly, this tongue of light that is called the Atma, although residing in one corner of the body, its rays, which is consciousness, pervades your entire body. This Atma from the heart pervades your entire body right up to your fingernails. You understand? And this Atma, the size of this Atma is 1/10,000. 1/10,000 the size of the tip of your head. Can you see how small this Atma is? That it cannot be seen with the naked eye. And Lord Sriman Narayan has divided himself equally to fit into every Atma. Lord Sriman Narayan has divided himself equally to fit into every Atma. Rosbhai, you're very sad. You can't con, plot, lie. Rosbhai? Because you can see the futility of it. Can you see the futility of it? Because the Creator is living within you. Who can you lie to? So if you are in a very, very dark place in your life today in the satsang, who drove you there? Your actions from your previous life provided the GPS and Lord Sriman Narayan. Who drove you there? Lord Sriman. So in your darkest situation, you are still with the Lord, aren't you? No matter how dark your situation is, your soul is the body of the Lord. Your soul is the body of the Lord. And this is one body that the Lord never, ever leaves. And you'll notice in my satsang, as I said, my satsang is the laboratory where we test the verdict injunctions, because God wants the verdict injunctions to be tested, doesn't He? And you see people will come in, their expressions, you'll see the pain and the suffering on their face. Have you all seen? And after these discourses, automatically there is a brightness on everyone's face that comes in this satsang. Problem is the same. You still got 2 months backward on your car, you still got your lights, you only paid half. The problem is still the same, but your face is shining. Why is your face shining? Because the fire within you, that real you, the Atma, gets awakened in a bona fide satsang. The ignorance that blocks the Atma from knowing itself, which is karma, the Guru starts peeling it like an onion. Peeling it like an onion. And as the layers of ignorance leaves you, what happens? You know who you are. Rosbhai, I want the Atma Rosbhai to have 10 concentrators. Which Rosbhai I want? The Atma Rosbhai to have 10 horse and trailers, and not the body Rosbhai to have 10 horse and trailers. Because the body Rosbhai, if we give him 10 horse and trailers, then his senses will have many, many desires. Right? And Bhabhi, don't get me wrong, even at this late stage, Rosbhai can look for a new Bhabhi. You've seen people moving around, you think that's the granddaughter, that's not the granddaughter. Then that desire of that new Bhabhi will want to get an old Rosbhai with lots of money. 10 horse and trailers is a lot of money. Are you understanding? So we want, whatever you get in the satsang, we want you to get it as an Atma, as a Atma, as a soul, and not as a body. Because the body is full of desires, and by the Guru giving the body, it will just multiply your desires and mess you up. You are coming here not to be messed up. You are coming here to be cleaned up. You are coming here not to be messed up. So you need to fast track. You need to fast track your individual status. You need to fast track your individual status. What do I mean by this? You need to fast track your individual status. You need to take ownership of yourself. You need to take ownership of your real self and not the perceived self. Because the perceived self is full of desires. The real self is full of bliss. The perceived self is full of desires. The real self is full of bliss. When you give a blissful self, Roj Bhai, 10 horse and trailers, there's no desires. There's no desires. You won't desire a new bhabi who is fit enough to be your granddaughter. Alright? You'll be in bliss with yourself and you'll blissfully have a relationship with the original bhabi. Alright? Because you won't see the original bhabi gone old now. Because it is only the body that's gone old. And the original bhabi and you are the same age. Because the original bhabi is Atma and you are Atma. And bhabi is a bundle of bliss and you are a bundle of bliss. You understand? All of you understanding? So some of you, if your material needs is not moving too fast, don't get worried. Don't get worried. Because once you land in the satsang, then you need to evolve. Once you land in the satsang, you need to evolve. No guru, no bona fide spiritual master would want his aspirants to devolve. And sometimes giving you something that you think is necessary, the system might think is not necessary at this point in time. At this point in time. All of you understand? Because ultimately, who is driving you? Who? The Supreme Lord Himself is your driver. The Supreme Lord Himself is your driver. And when the Supreme Lord Himself is your driver, and you understand that you are not this body, you are a mode of the Supreme Lord. You need to come to that realization. I am a part of the Supreme Lord. In Sanatan Dharma, a lot of misinterpretation of the scriptures is flooding the world. A lot of misinterpretation of the scriptures is flooding the world. And it is our duty to streamline and synthesize the absolute truth. So when we say you are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, it does not mean that you are identical to the Supreme Lord. It does not mean that you are identical to the Supreme Lord. You are a mode of the Supreme Lord. And I'll give you an example. For a car to exist in its totality, it needs the shell, it needs the axle, it needs the suspension, needs the engine, needs the gearbox, needs the diff, needs the battery, isn't it? In its totality, you'll call the car car. In its totality, you'll call the car a car. Now the tires is part and parcel of the entire car. It is inseparable from the car. Is it not? It is inseparable from the car, but it is different from the car. Is it not? So when the scriptures say you are part and parcel of the Lord, yes, in terms of you being His mode or attribute. When you're an attribute of something, you are part of that substance, isn't it? When you're an attribute of anything, it means you are a part of the substantive of that thing that is being described. But you are not identical. You are not identical. Like the tire is a mode of the car, is an attribute of the car. It's an inseparable part of the car. Without it, the car cannot move. But it is not the car. Similarly, we, as the soul, we are the mode of the Supreme Lord. We form His body. We form His body. Which we am I talking about? Which we am I talking about? I'm talking about when you identify yourself as the soul. As soon as you identify yourself as the soul, it's called self-realization. Then you need God realization. Self-realization qualifies you for God realization. And there is a perception that you need to realize God somewhere very, very far away. No, God realization is within yourself. Self-realization is within yourself. Self-realization is from your mind to your soul. From your mind, use your mind and understand that you are the soul. When you know you are the soul, use yourself as the soul to understand that the Lord lives within you and you form the body of the Lord. The Lord lives within you and you form the body of the Lord. And this is never changed, both in the causal chain state and the effective state. Causal state and state of effection. In the effective state, you are always the body of the Supreme. As long as you think that you are this body, there is no connection between you, the soul, and the Lord, the Super Soul. There is no connection. But as soon as you cut asunder with the sword of knowledge this ignorance that you are this body, at that point absolute bliss starts flowing absolute bliss starts flowing through. Let's examine this. Let us examine this. Now Rojbhai as a body, when you leave here today, you want to go home, Bobby must cook your favorite vegetable dish, which might be herbs, potato and broth. Alright. Then you'll feed yourself sumptuously. Have a nice glass of water, bird, and that's your bliss. Okay? But earlier in this discourse, you agreed with me that body gets cremated. That's why you agreed with me. Bhaji, dal, rice, glass of water, burp once or twice, stretch your arms out, you are king. And a great meal. Don't forget our daughter giving you some lovely cakes with some tea. And that tops everything in your life. That tops everything. Absolute ecstasy and bliss. But then again, we stated earlier on in this discourse that this body is either cremated or buried. So what use was that bliss? What is the purpose of that bliss? Because that bliss dies. That bliss dies. But we have something within us, each one of us. We have something within us that knows somehow we'll never get old. And we never die. We always feel we are 20, isn't it, Rojbhai? That's why you're going to soak for the new Bhabhi in the 20s. Because you're there in your 70s or 80s, Rojbhai, but you want a Bhabhi that's in the 20s, because Satish Bhai is enjoying this. Inside you, you always feel 20. Who does not feel 20? How is this feeling? What is this instinctive feeling that we have that we are never old?
It's an illusion.
No. It is the soul crying out. It is the soul that sending signals to state that we never age. We are always youthful, because in a state of youthfulness, we enjoy the greatest bliss. And the soul is always in a state of youthfulness. Is it not? Don't you feel it? Aren't you your own evidence? Aren't you your own evidence? You yourself is your evidence, because this is how you feel. It's a feeling. It's an emotion. It's an emotion. It's an energy. It's an energy. Emotions are energies. Blissful emotions are positive energy. And depressed emotions are negative. But emotions are energies. All of you understand it? So it is useless to think that the Guru is going to touch a magic wand on you and something is going to happen. It is futile to think. The Guru turns the soul button on in you. The Guru turns the soul button on in you through knowledge. Then you have to start living as the soul. You have to start living as the soul. You have to stop telling lies. You have to stop telling lies, because who is the witness? He is driving you. He is driving you. He is witnessing you. So to get unbound in this life, you have to make an indelible change. You have to change. You have to change. Sita, who must change? You. When you change, then the driver will take you to a changed GPS. And if you are the same, the driver will continue in the same GPS. And the driver is who? The Lord. The driver is the Lord. When you change, then what will happen to your GPS? Change. Driver is already there. And driver is impartial. He don't care whether you change or not. His job is just to drive you. The Guru's job is to change you. The driver will continue driving in whichever computation is on your system. It is the Guru's job to change the computation of your system, so the driver now drives you in the new direction. All of you understand? Is this scientific? Does it make sense to you? Does it explain the current chaos in the world? Does it explain why your neighbor does all the wrong things but get rewarded the right things? Have you seen bad people getting good things in this lifetime? And what's the explanation for that? He earned it in his last lifetime. It's computed there that whoever he is, his fruits of his actions are fruity. Fine. You understand? So what you have to do to change your circumstances? Make that change. Make that change, Mama. Have you ever seen Lord Narayan sip a beer, Mama? In all your life, Mama, you saw Lord Narayan sip a beer. So, if you are tempted to take a glass of beer and put it there, what you must realize, who's inside the Atma? Paramatma. And what must happen to the beer? Reverse motion. Reverse motion. If your mind says it, the driver will drive it. Mama? So if the mind says up, Lord Narayan will push it in your heart. And if the mind says no, how can I have a beer with Lord Narayan living inside my soul? Imagine me and Lord Narayan drunk. What will happen to this universe? Mama? So what you have to do? Disengage from this thought. I'm just using Mama as an excuse. But I'm saying for everything that we do in our life. Alright? Everything that we do in our life, Lord Narayan is driving our former karma. Chitra Gupta is noting our current karma. And this is cyclic. It goes on life after life after life after life. And Lord Narayan himself created the perfect system. He says, find a guru, surrender to the guru, let the Guru reprogram you and I'll drive you there. Who'll drive you there? Lord. Now let's come back to our body. Let's come back to this body. Now this body needs nourishment. This body needs nourishment. And the Lord has prescribed the nourishment in the Bhagavad Gita that you need for this body. You need food, you need air, and you need water. Food, air, and water, you need nourishment for this body. So you must eat a balanced meal. Now that you come to the realization that you are not this body, but this body is a vehicle that is driven by Lord Sriman Narayan, and you are in the passenger seat. You are touring this life and experiencing your good and bad deeds of your previous life. You are touring this life in a vehicle to experience your good and bad deeds of your previous life, and the driver is the Supreme Lord to make sure there's no shortcuts. Because we know, we humans, wherever there's a gap, we take a shortcut. And that's why the Lord Himself became the driver. Who? Lord Himself became the driver to ensure that not even a millimeter changes from your destiny. All of you understand? Everyone understands? So when this body goes into cremation, when the soul leaves this body, when the soul leaves this body, it depends with what merits the soul left this body. And if you had a lot of desires in this body, if you had a lot of desires in this body, then the next dimension is called Preta Lok. The next dimension above Devi Lok is Preta Lok. In that dimension, your body suffers the agony of these desires. Your body suffers the agony of these desires, because desires can only be fulfilled in a body. In a body. But you have left this body. You have just pulled it off. Yeah, as soon as I spoke of Preta Lok, that is why. As soon as I spoke of Preta Lok is a dimension of ghosts and spirits. Alright? Too much of desires, unfulfilled desires, will send you to this dimension. And you'll be imprisoned in this dimension. Now, time on the earthly plane is different in each dimension. As you go higher, time gets smaller. Lord Brahma's, the time on Brahmalok and time on earth, Lord Brahma's 100 years is Earth's 311 trillion 40 billion years. Lord Brahma's 100 years. And you see in each dimension, lower times get more bigger, because time, as per the Vedas, is not linear. Time is not linear, it is cyclic. It is cyclic. Time is not linear. All of you understand? So when we go to Preta Lok, someone might say, but our ancestors is already reincarnated, because we counting time here at on the earthly plane, but this time that they live on the other plane are thousands of years. Thousands of years before they get the next body. All of you understand? So if you are very desirable, you want a whole lot of things, you don't care how you acquire it, you rob, steal, you do everything to make sure you acquire these things. When that type of body leaves, it go and get stuck in Pretaloka. When you do your Pitru Paksha puja according to scriptures, because mantras are read, and this is why I asked you to get qualified Brahman. Those of you who completed the Pitru Paksha, did the Brahman read mantras? Yes? This mantras that the Brahman chants, he chants it in a frequency. That frequency is energy in motion. Frequency is energy in motion. It reached that particular person, and the mantras have capacity to disengage him from that prison-like position where his desires have risen. All of you understand? And you assist your ancestor who had that type of character to be stuck in Preta. All of you understand? Can you see the significance of Pitru Paksha? And can you see the science behind the significance of Pitru Paksha? And can you see the love that the Lord has for us? Can you see the love that the Lord has for us? In other systems, it is declared that if you do not follow a particular system, you go to hell, and if you follow a particular system, you go to heaven. That is not scientific. That is not scientific. In our system, in the universal system, in this system that I am expounding, you can be the most sinful of persons. You can be the most sinful of persons. Your ancestors or your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren can redeem your sins. Look at the compassion of the Lord. You yourself had no capacity to redeem your sin, but your children or their children can redeem you of your sins. Are you understanding? How compassionate the Lord is. Do you think the Lord has to be as compassionate as a mother that gave birth to children? Yes, Jessica. The Lord has to be as compassionate as a mother that gave birth to their children. And that is why whether your child is a rogue or whether he is a saint, the mother does not differentiate. The mother's feelings is the same. Where you think that mother got that feeling from? From the Lord himself. Because the Lord is the reservoir of all feelings. The Lord is the reservoir of everything. And in this Pitru Paksha, the Lord has given us 16 days to redeem not ourselves, but to redeem our ancestors and the rest of the fallen souls that are stuck in Preta. Because you don't only do Pitru Paksha for your ancestors, you do it for the world. But you start with your ancestors. All of you understand? Is it scientific? So if you are in Sanatan Dharma, and those that do not do Pitru Paksha, when you do your Pitru Paksha, you are appeasing not only your generation, and your grandparents and your ancestors. You're doing it for those who currently are in other systems who do not believe in Pitru Paksha. Are you understanding? So you're doing it universally. You are doing it. All of you understand? So the Guru too is like a mother. Right? There's a bhabhi there with the baby. She'll make sure that the baby gets its meal at the right temperature. The milk is hot. She'll put her finger if the baby is being fed with milk. And if her finger does not get burnt, is not too hot, then she'll take that milk and she'll feed the baby. And that's how the Guru is. And the Guru's food is the Vedas. The Guru will feed you the Vedas like he feeds a small child, testing to see which part of the Vedas is compatible to you in a particular stage of your life. The Vedas must not be too cold, neither must it be too hot. And that milk the Guru gives you in the kuti. This is the general milk of the child. That milk you get in the kuti when you are in consultation with the Guru. But the only food that the Guru gives you, don't get bluffed with this other food. This lunch you're going to have, alright? The only food that the Guru gives you, painstakingly, prepared 100% under the best guidance of the Sri Sampradaya. They are the greatest cooks of the food of Sanatan Dharma. And that food is called knowledge. That food is called knowledge. In the most appeasing morsels, one bite at a time, the Guru feeds your soul. Food for the soul is spiritual knowledge. Because the soul is spiritual. You, the Atma, is spiritual. You, the Atma, is spiritual. Your body is material. For material food, there's your food in the back. Spiritual food, spiritual discourses. And this feeds your soul. This feeding of the soul lights up your whole body. And that is why you can see Satish Bhai and Rosh Bhai, their heads are like two big beams of light. If you look at their head, two huge luminous beams of light emanating from the soul. Right? Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Okay, before we cut this discourse, this coming Saturday, we will be doing poor feeding. We will be doing poor feeding. We will feed in a location that I've already identified and spoken to the community leaders. But you may in future also find communities where you want to feed. And this ashram will oblige. Okay? So we want to feed 3 handas. 2 handas have already come through. 1 handa, I'd like all of you all to get involved. Okay? Then I'd like you to come on Saturday, those of you that can. Those of you that have more than one in the family, one can do what is necessary to do at home, the other should be here. And those where both of you can come, both of you come and do this setup. So we will cook at the ashram and we will deliver at this destination, and I think it is appropriate that immediately after Pitru Paksha, we are doing this meeting. Okay? So I want to get you involved in as many ways as possible in performing seva. Because the more time you spend with the Guru and the more time you spend at the ashram, it's like an iron that is kept next to a magnet. And one day, we hope you to become even greater than the Guru. We hope for you to become even greater than the Guru if you think that the Guru is there in whatever he is doing. All of you understand? Everyone? So please, Jessica, I'll give you that portfolio. Alright, this is a small thing for Jessica. She's running a higher organization, you know, whole of KZN. There's one small speck of ashram here, in one speck of KZN. Jessica, I don't think you'll have any problem in ensuring, alright? So, you all can discuss in detail. The Guru do not interfere after he sets up a project, alright? So you can do it without fear. Whatever you do, I know you're going to do it from the bottom of your heart. Because as of now, as of today, most of you have realized the driver is Lord Narayan. Right? And with that realization, I'm sure it will impact positively in every one of your lives who's going to take this serious. That Lord Narayan is not even next to your soul, he is inside your soul. Not next to you, not somewhere there. He's not in a church, in a mosque or in an ashram. The Lord is not in a church or a mosque or an ashram or a synagogue. Where is he? And you must become the church, you must become the mosque, you must become the synagogue, or you must become the ashram. Who? You, your soul must become the ashram, or the church, or the mosque, or the synagogue. But you come to the ashram to learn about the inner ashram that you have to create, or the inner church, or the inner mosque, or the inner synagogue. Alright? Are there any questions? We got Baki will be available Saturday. Okay. We got one Baki available Saturday. Some cars. I'd like the feeding to be done, ladies, Punjabis, and men, kurtas. Right? Let's be proud of Sanatan Dharma. Dress code of Sanatan Dharma. Be proud. Let us go out. Okay? And one more thing. I myself, I was guilty of previously, but I've decided only photographs will be taken of the food we've cooked. It would be very, very embarrassing to take out photographs of people that we are giving and then posting on social media. It's not the right thing, you understand? So all photographs will be taken here. Yes, we have a history. 50 years time, when Jessica's grandchildren are running up and down here, they want to know what that Acharya did. Then we can take out our photographs and say, on a certain Saturday, we all cooked. All of you agree? So, even in my absence, this institution must not photograph any underprivileged person receiving any benefit from this organization. Alright? Jessica, at our next annual general meeting, make sure it is part of our constitution. Alright? Even our angels. Even our angels. So I said I was guilty of this myself. I didn't see the flip side of it, but now I've cognized it, and I believe that we can take out photographs, we can do a whole lot of things, because remember, the demon is also advertising. The demon is also advertising. You go on Facebook, You see these prostitutes are advertising there. There's alcohol adverts there. There's demonic place adverts there. So we also have to advertise our divine work, so that the divine energy can negate the negative energy. Alright? And this is why our discourses go through Facebook, throughout the world. Because the demonic is also advertising. But we should not undermine the recipient by taking their faces and publicizing it to the world. Alright? Any questions, Satish Bhai? You happy with what I said? Okay. You, Sita? Sita? What time will you go home? Yeah. Yes, because I saw you had an excuse that you're coming very early to cook today, so that's why you cannot transcribe. All right? No, you will be transcribing. You? Yeah, you will be transcribing. All right, Sita? There's no excuses. No excuses. And Sita had the brevity to go on to the Acharya Samramanuj group and say, I won't be transcribing today. So she got caught. They got their own transcribing group. She leaves that group and go on to my group. Because she came onto my group, she will be transcribing.
It's meant to be.
Lord Narayan drove her.